island of Sodor is a busy, bustling place. There is always lots for the engines to do. One morning, Thomas was shunting freight cars in the yard when Sir Topham Hatt came to see him. The fishermen are celebrating their biggest catch of fish ever. Thomas, you must help Arthur take the fish to the docks. Thomas was fed up. He didn't like the smell of fish. And when he got to the fishing village, there were lots of freight cars, all stacked full of fish. Thomas had never seen so many fish. Phew, he puffed. What a horrible smell. Then Arthur arrived. Arthur warned Thomas that the route to Brenham Docks was bumpy. "Only take 5 freight cars at a time," said Arthur. "And go slow and steady." Arthur carefully collected 5 freight cars. Then he puffed slowly out of the harbor yard. Thomas looked at all the freight cars full of fish. He didn't want to go slow and steady. He wanted to get his smelly job over with. So Thomas shunted all of the freight cars into a long line. And he puffed out of the village. The freight cars were heavy and smelly, but Thomas was pleased his job would soon be over. But then, the troublesome trucks decided to have some fun. The trucks wiggled and they giggled. And they made Thomas's journey very bumpy. And some of the fish was shaken loose. Yuck! Thomas gasped. "I wish I'd taken fewer freight cars." Thomas puffed hard. He pushed the long line of freight cars up the hill. He started to puff down the other side. Thomas tried to go slowly, but the troublesome trucks wanted to go faster. "On, they cheered. Thomas went faster and faster. "Cinders and ashes," Thomas cried. Salty was at the bottom of the hill. He was waiting for a signal. He didn't know Thomas was coming down the hill. Thomas was out of control. Thomas braked as hard as he could. But the freight cars of fish were too heavy. "Oops," said Thomas. "Sorry." Salty was covered in fish. "Never mind me, Artie," said Salty. "The smell reminds me of the sea." Thomas's driver telephoned for help. And soon Harvey was clearing the tracks. Thomas wondered what Sir Topham Hatt would say. He found out soon enough. "You have caused confusion and delay," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You must learn to be more safe." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir," Thomas puffed sadly. So this time, Thomas shunted only 5 freight cars together. He took a deep breath, and he chuffed away. Thomas puffed through the countryside. "I will get to the docks on time," he cried. But the troublesome trucks were up to their old tricks. "Hold back," they giggled. But this time there were only 5 trucks. Thomas biffed and bashed and bumped them. And the trucks weren't troublesome anymore. As soon as he delivered the first freight cars, Thomas went back to collect the next 5. His coupling smelled of kippers, and his cabin smelled of cod. But he was working so hard, he forgot all about the smell. At last, he had just one more load to take. But it was nearly time for the ship to leave. Thomas raced as fast as he could. His axles ached and his buffers were bashed, but he got to the docks just in time. Thomas was very happy to say goodbye to the fish. Then Sir Topham Hatt came to see Thomas. "I know you don't like the smell of fish, but you have worked very hard," Sir Topham Hatt said. "You really are a useful engine." Thomas was proud. But he still had the smell of fish in his funnel, and he couldn't wait to be clean. So he puffed off to the washdown. Arthur and Salty were already there. "Getting clean is lovely," puffed Arthur. "Best part of the day," said Salty. "Especially when you smell of fish," said Thomas.